Welcome to Meet the Candidates 2025 on KOAL 107.3 FM and 750 AM. Tonight, we'll hear from two candidates running for Helper City Mayor, incumbent Lenise Peterman and challenger Kathy Fausett. Let's go live to the Rio Theater on Helper Main Street, where tonight's moderator, Aidan Mortensen, is standing by.
Today, we'd like to welcome you out to meet the candidates for Castle Country Radio and KOAL 107.3 FM and 750 AM. We are unable to be live today, so we will upload a full recording of tonight's event on our website, castlecountryradio.com, and on our YouTube channel, KOAL Castle Country Focus, following the event. We'd like to thank you all for your patience as we work through those technical difficulties. Not fun for anyone, especially you, for arriving for a very important event. Well, tonight we'd like to welcome you out to meet the candidates as we meet the candidates for Helper City Mayor, incumbent Lenise Peterman and challenger Kathy Fausett. They'll be answering questions that have been emailed in by you, the public. And if you want to get involved in future Meet the Candidate events, you can send an email to election2025@koal.net. Again, that is election and not elections. No S on that one. Now, before we get started, I'd like to go over the rules and format for this evening. Tonight's event is open to the public, and as such, we'd like to remind you to please avoid any distracting behaviors for the candidates. This includes cheering or booing. If such an incident is to occur, we will pause until order is resumed. Also, at this time, we'd like to remind you to please silence your cell phones, again, to limit distractions. Now, the format for tonight's event will be as follows. Outside of the initial introduction and closing questions, in which candidates will have 3 minutes to respond, each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question that has been emailed in. The order of who will answer first has been decided before we began. After the first has had their time to go, the others will also have 2 minutes to answer as well. Following that initial 2-minute period, each candidate will also have an additional 60 seconds to expand on or respond to something another candidate has said. Following the 60 seconds, the other candidate will also receive an additional 60 seconds. We will follow this format throughout the evening. We'd also like to go over voting information at this time. Early voting for the 2025 municipal general election will be conducted at the Carbon County Administration Building in the downstairs open area and conference room from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. beginning Tuesday, October 28th, and running until Friday, October 31st. In-person voting is also going to be held on General Election Day on November 4th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., again at the Carbon County Administration Building. For those of you who are voting by mail, drop-off ballot boxes are available at the following locations: at the Carbon County Administration Building in both the clerk's office and the east parking lot, Wellington City Hall, East Carbon City Hall, Helper City Hall, and Schofield Town Hall. So starting off with our coin flip winner, Kathy Fausett, you'll have 3 minutes to answer probably our easiest question of the evening. Please introduce yourself to the public. You'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Kathy Fausett. I am a long-term Helper resident. My grandparents immigrated here from Italy. My 92-year-old mom still lives here. My kids live here. I still have grandkids that go to school here. So my heart is in Helper. I have the town is my best interest. I feel like I don't think they can hear. I think I can be really fair to everyone because I don't have any conflicts of interest. So I would like to thank the radio station for being able to put this on tonight, and everybody that came out to listen and make an informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Ms. Peterman, you will also have 3 minutes as well.
Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight. And thank you, KOAL, for putting this on. Your voice and your vote are important. My name is Lenise Peterman, and I'm running for Helper Mayor. Born and raised in the South, I graduated from college and headed to Houston, where I went to work in litigation support. From that point, I have lived and traveled around the country in support of my career, working for entities such as General Motors in Detroit, various law firms in New York and Washington, D.C., and arriving in Utah in 2004. I made Helper my home in 2015, and I like to tell people I got here as fast as I could. and I could see the potential of what Helper had and what they could be. Even when most buildings were vacant, the charm, the historic integrity were always present. I worked at the library and the museum, learning about the local mining and railroad history ground up. When I decided to run for office, I decided I needed to leave my city employment to avoid any potential conflicts of interest. I take my role seriously and participate and network at as many tables and events as possible to promote all the things positive about Helper with history at the cornerstone. I serve on a number of boards and understand for that Helper to be successful, all of Carbon County and surrounding municipalities must be as well. I define my leadership style as service leadership. Service leadership emphasizes the importance of serving others, fostering an environment where everyone can thrive, with a focus specifically on building a place our children and grandchildren can call home. This style blended seamlessly as I took on roles of co-chairing the Helper Arts, Music, and Film Festival, co-chairing the Helper Revitalization Committee, and volunteering for local area events such as St. Anthony's Carnival and the Greek Festival prior to even running for office. At the end of the day, my goal is to ensure the leaders behind us can continue to build on our efforts to create a community for all of us to call home. Simply put, I believe in Helper, and I hope you do too.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. We'll start with you on our next question. Why are you running, and what are your plans and ideas for the community? You will have 2 minutes.
My plans and ideas for the community are, I think we need to expand.
Excuse me, we were starting with Ms. Peterman on this one.
Excuse
No
me.
worries at all. Yeah, we'll start with you on this one.
Oh, okay. Would you repeat? Sorry.
Yes. Why are you running, and what are your plans and ideas for the community?
I really am running, and I know it's unusual to run for a third term because I haven't finished a lot of the good work that we have collectively done together here in Helper. We're in the middle of a lot of great projects that I would like to see to completion, and a lot of those relate to infrastructure. And I think it's important to see that work through, which is what really has prompted me to run. And trust me, I reached out to family and friends. I thought, wow, a third term kind of seems over the top to me. But understanding that, we have a $750,000 affordable home grant outstanding. Shepherding those things to fruition, I think, is important because switching midstream is going to be a real challenge. And I really love the community. I want to serve the community to the best of my ability. And I think the proof is there. I think I have done that for the past 8 years, and I will continue to do that. And regardless of outcome, it's not going to change for me because I do care about where we're going, how we're getting there, and what we're doing to ensure our kids have every opportunity to call Helper home and make a living wage and come back here and raise their families in turn.
Thank you, Ms. Peterman. Ms. Fausett, you will also have 2 minutes. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Why are you running, and what are your plans and ideas for the community?
I am running to give a voice to all the citizens of Helper. I feel like a lot of things have been done on Main Street, which I realize benefits all of Helper. But it also seems like a lot of Helper has been excluded. Everything off Main Street has just kind of sat there and gone downhill. I think we need to build our community back again. I don't feel like we have the same feelings about each other as we had even maybe 4 years ago. The community feel is kind of gone. It's not a lot of fun anymore. A lot of people are feeling left out of important decisions or that their opinions don't matter. I am running to try to reunite our city. It's very difficult to move forward if everybody's moving in 5 different directions. I would like to start doing things like town hall meetings where everyone is invited and anyone can make a comment It would be a very open process. What does everyone want? My plans for the future are to try to expand our boundaries so that we have some additional tax revenue besides just having to raise our utility bills to pay for things within the city. I think Helper is an absolute wonderful place, but I think we can do better. I think we can have a little bit more community involvement. I think we can do things for each other. I think we can advertise the things we have in Helper better. I don't think everybody that has a business in Helper receives the same amount of recognition. And I think it's, when visitors come, there are things they can do here that I don't think we've really addressed very well.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Your time is up. Mayor Peterman, you will have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
Sure. And I agree with Kathy about town halls. We hosted a couple of town halls when we were merging the Arts Alliance Board and the Main Street Board. We wanted to open that up to the public. We also have hosted a number of town halls regarding the auditorium and the brownfields work to solicit from the community what it is they'd like to see happen to that particular building. And I would say, the door is always open, and I want to encourage people to reach out and talk to me. I feel like I'm super accessible. I respond to text messages, to phone calls, to emails, and I think that's an important thing for small communities to have that access to their elected officials. I would point out, I'm the leader of the community as the mayor, but council is the determining factor. They're the people that vote on issues.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, you will also have 60 seconds if you would like.
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Moving to our next question then, Ms. Fausett, we will start with you on this one. What service have you provided for the community in the past? You'll have 2 minutes.
Most of the service that I've provided to the community in the past has been in the form of donations or donated work. I just retired from my full-time job in May, so I haven't had a lot of time on my hands to get really involved in a lot of community services. I look forward to being more involved in the future, but most of my time has been taking up being employed full-time.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Ms. Peterman, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Aiden. So, as I said earlier, I actually co-chaired the Helper Arts Festival for 2 years and then took on the role of the Helper Revitalization Committee. And I think, I steadily grew my service to the community. I didn't just show up and say, I'm going to be the mayor. I actually participated and got to know people and built trust, because I know that from an outsider coming into a small community, to make that happen, the community has to trust who you are and that you do have their best interest at heart. So those efforts really led to the SDAT, the Sustainable Design Assessment Team Grant, that I won on behalf of the city, which brought forth a collaboration unlike any other regarding what we could do to create a sustainable community. And from that point, I said, well, gosh, someone should take this great plan and really execute it. And that's really what has been my North Star in guiding what we're doing here in Helper. And I think, as I said, I grew into the service roles, and I think that's an important thing.
Thank you, Ms. Peterman. Ms. Fausett, you will also have 60 seconds if you would like it.
I'm fine, thank you.
Mayor Peterman, same for you. Would you like 60 seconds?
No, thank you.
Moving to our next question then, Mayor Peterman, we will start with you on this one. What do you think defines Helper's identity, and how would you work to preserve and build upon that identity? You will have 2 minutes.
So I absolutely believe Helper's identity is connected to the energy industry. The railroading, the mining, those are all things that deserve our deep respect for what they've done to build our country, to build the Western U.S. Those are all incredibly important things, and people like to come to Helper because it's an authentic experience. I think what we've done carefully and with great thought is create a Main Street that reflects that industrial heritage, that is proud of that mining, proud of the railroading, and it's nothing we should ever discount. But what I would say is we've got to be looking forward. We have to diversify our economic position, and I think we've been able to do that over the last 8 years, and I say that because we've seen our sales tax revenue grow, $600,000 between the time I first took office to what we're actually seeing run through the city today. So that tells me we're on the right path, that we're diversifying our economic position, and that we can do that while respecting our heritage and never discounting it. So that, I think, is super important, and so much respect for the families who are resilient, who stayed with Helper through the up and downs that it experienced, and to see it coming back up has got to be so reaffirming for those people who have been long-term residents, and to know we're going to make it, we're going to be okay, and we're going to be better than okay, actually. We're going to do well, and we're going to have a place, again, I go back to the kids, a place our kids can come back to.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
What do you think defines Helper's identity, and how would you work to preserve and build upon that identity? You will have 2 minutes.
I definitely think Helper's identity goes back to the mining and railroad industry. I think we've done well on Main Street and the way that our Main Street represents our heritage. I think maybe the museum doesn't get quite as much credit as it should. We have one of the best museums I've ever seen. It's handicapped accessible. You can visit all 3 floors. There's so much information there and so much to see. I know that they do have tours that come out of other places. I hope we can promote that a little bit more as far as different school districts and stuff being able to come and visit our museum, because it is absolutely wonderful. I think that a lot of the things that are on Main Street are very representative of our heritage, but I also think we can do more to promote things like the clampers. They are truly stewards of our history. They go out and do the plaques to represent different things that have happened, the mining disasters, where different people are buried. They have a map outside of the Clampers building that shows where all of their markers are, and they really do so much for the community. I feel like we could recognize them a little bit more. I think we just all need to, feel more like families. When First Fridays first started, and you got to go to town, meet the artists, see them work, it made everybody into more like real people instead of here's the people, here's the artists. We all live here together. We all need to get on the same plan and work together to try to make our town even better than it currently is.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Mayor Peterman, you will have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
Sure. I would like to go back to the museum. We've been able to accomplish a ton of work there with new windows, new HVAC, new flooring. So it is a jewel of the cities, and we're proud to certainly have it. And we certainly work to invest in it so that, our international guests, which I know travel there, and guests from around the country, understand what a treasure trove that is. And it's not even curated. These are gifts from the community to the city, and that makes for an amazing and authentic experience, looking at those black and white photographs, looking at our veterans that went to war from our area. I think all of those things are amazing and absolutely should be highlighted.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, an extra 60 seconds is yours as well if you would like it.
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Moving to our next question then, Ms. Fausett, we will start with you on this one. One concern voiced by citizens and leaders alike in Helper is the need for updated infrastructure within the city. How would you approach this task if elected? You'll have 2 minutes.
Well, I think the water infrastructure is pretty much taken care of at this point. The city has worked very hard to get in the new line so that we don't have leaks all over the place. So we do have a good water system. I believe it's almost complete at this point. As far as our power grid goes, I think that's something that we really need to look hard at. Everything is getting very old, and there are going to have to be some decisions to be made as far as, do we sell our power grid? Can we upgrade our power grid? Maybe someone who wants to come in and do some development would be willing to pay part or all to upgrade our power grid. But I think all of those decisions would matter as far as what's it going to cost each citizen on their power bill, which way we end up having to go. I think there are still some grants available to look at infrastructure things, but with the way the federal government is right now, I think grants are going to be fewer and far between to be an actual something that you can rely on to fix our power grid. The sewer system, I believe, is all fixed, so we need to figure out, is there enough money in our budget to maintain our roads, to keep the snow plows going. But I think really the biggest thing that sits in front of us is our power grid, and I think that's going to be a decision that everybody has to have part in what way we go with our power system.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Mayor Peterman, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I'm good. Thank you. So we work closely with the Division of Drinking Water to retrieve a $4 million grant, basically, that did replace not only water lines, but rehabilitated our storage tanks, implemented a SCADA system that allows our staff to remotely access water flows and to monitor them and turn them up or down based on need. The grid is a conundrum. I have put out at least 7 grants in the last 7 years for the grid. I currently am working with the Division of Energy. They have a new opportunity coming out. This was driven by Senator Curtis through a conversation that I had with him regarding our grid, and that, at some point the grid's going to fall down, and instead of being reactive, let's be proactive. I think we should also be talking about roads. Our master transportation plan is underway. It's going to aid us in identifying which roads we need to maintain first, and then give us a pathway to finding funds to do so. So I think that's incredibly important. And then again, I'll reference the affordable housing grant that we went after. That's a federal grant. I spoke to Senator Curtis about that as well. And he informed me that while the government is shut down, it would probably be delayed, but that at some point when they got back to work, that wasn't a program at risk. So between that and, we have a sidewalk grant out with UDOT right now to repair some gnarly sidewalks over by Helper Middle School. So I think it's all about just trying to find the program that fits the need, and that's a challenge.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
I'm fine, thank you.
Mayor Peterman, same offer for you, 60 seconds if you'd like it.
I'm good, thank you.
Moving to our next question then, Mayor Peterman, we will start with you on this one. With Helper City's government taking the form of a strong council, weak mayor setup with checks and balances in place to prevent an overreach of power, how would you work with the council to ensure the best direction for Helper City? You'll have 2 minutes.
So I see my role as vision setting and problem solving. So when we encounter an issue, being creative in helping to solve it, but I don't legislate. That belongs to council. Those are the agenda items where they discuss freely in front of the public and come to consensus. I've been fortunate in that in the course of 8 years, I've never broken a tie because they come together and figured out the next steps. When they do that, my task is to step up and execute whatever it is they've elected to do. Let's talk about the STAR. Council made that motion. They determined they wanted it relocated. And I needed to execute based on their direction. So I'm thrilled with the result of having it out here at the Rio with the beautiful photograph with the poetry across the rail cars and a film marker. We really want to make that a draw. But those decisions, I want to make clear, are council's decisions. You know, at that point, I'm beholden to do what they want done. And the same thing happens with budgets. I can counsel, but I never tell a council member how to vote on anything. And I want to stress that really, at the end of the day, they're the decision makers. I'm just the person who has to follow through. They decide if we're going to sign a contract. They decide what's going to happen in the community. And again, I guide. I tell them I don't think budgeting in the red is strategic, and I think we should rethink it, and I think we should go back to the drawing board. I am really empowered to do that. But the reality is they want to pass a budget in the red, they'll pass it. So I see my role as counselor to them in vision setting and trying to solve the problems in creative ways. Just this week.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Your time is up. Ms. Fausett, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
With Helper City government taking the form of a strong council, weak mayor setup with checks and balances in place to prevent an overreach of power, how would you work with the council to ensure the best direction for Helper City?
I think for one thing, I would, on Helper City's website, it does have a list of all the council members and an email address that goes to Helper City. I would suggest adding what each council member oversees, whether it's the parks or whether it's the Public Works Department, and a contact number for them, because that is true. The council members do oversee that, and I feel like the public needs to know who to contact if they have a question about a specific need or a specific problem. I think, you know, they all ran to help Helper, and I think that's part of it is you need to take accountability and you need to answer to the citizens. I would question some of the things that go on in City Council as far as when they go to a closed session. I think some of those things need to be put out in the public. We recently hired a city administrator. That position, I think, brings into some questions. I have absolutely no problem with Cole. I think he does a good job. He's always been good to me. My question comes about how that happened. The job was only listed for 5 days to apply for the job. The job description wasn't even posted on the Helper City website, so you didn't even know what job to apply for. And then the job was awarded to Cole, who was a current Helper City councilman and also one of Mayor Peterson's very close, very long-time personal friend. Is he the best person for the job? I don't know. We'll never know. I just think things like that need to be out in the public and not going to a closed session to decide things that are going to affect everyone. Now
your time's up.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Mayor Peterman, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
Sure. So sessions are closed for only 4 reasons, and that's to discuss property, to discuss personnel, to discuss legal matters, and the 4th one's escaping me. But I know you have to actually say why you're closing a session. As far as the community administrator position, after losing Zach Tong, we went through all of his tasks. We determined that no one person could do what was being done, and no wonder he was leaving. And I went to council. We discussed creating 2 different jobs so that we could keep our employees, because turnover is tough in government for sure, because there are a lot of rules and regulations. We posted a job description. We posted and interviewed a variety of people. Both myself and Councilmember Bob Olson were involved in that. We rated and ranked all of the candidates, and friendship aside, Cole was beyond the best candidate for us. He's done an amazing job.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Your time is up. Ms. Fausett, 60 seconds is yours as well if you would like it.
Several of the jobs that are actually listed on the mayor's description, as far as being the administrator and who all of the helper employees report to, has also been put under Cole's job description. When I look at that, it just looks like there's a lot of things listed on that job, which are really the responsibility of the elected official and not necessarily Cole's. I just think it was something that was done that could have been a little bit more open, and we did need extra help, but I think we need to look at how many hours everybody needs. By filling those two positions, it costs the citizens $72,000 a year in benefits and salary. I just think it's something that could have been done in a more open way.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. We'll move on to our next question, and Ms. Fausett will be starting on this one. Gathering and responding to citizen input is an important part of being mayor. How would you connect with citizens of Helper outside of city council meetings? You will have 2 minutes.
I'm always available for a phone call or an email. I think we really need to address citizens' concerns and not just say, I'm on that. I would like to post something on the city's website like your public works at work. That seems to be a lot of people's questions because they don't see the public works right out in front of their house. They think they're not working. But if we could post something and say, this is what our public works department has been doing for the last month. These are their current duties going forward. When you understand what everybody's doing, I think it makes you feel better about where all your money's going and that, everybody's concerns are being answered. I think we just need to really take into account when somebody has a complaint. We don't just say, I'm on that, and we actually address if and when it can be done.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Mayor Peterman, you will have 2 minutes as well. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
Gathering and responding to citizen input is an important part of being mayor. How would you connect with the citizens of Helper outside of city council meetings?
So we've been exploring utilizing text messaging. If you are signed up for Express Bill Pay, you can opt in, and that's a way we can communicate with you, especially in cases of emergencies, down power lines, things of that nature. Obviously, we use social media as much as we can, and email blasts. So I think we try to create as many touch points as we can. And for those citizens interested in what's going on with agendas, you can go to the Public Notice website and sign up, and they will let you know every time we post an agenda, be it for a special meeting and or the regular meeting. So if you're interested, there are several different avenues we can take. And again, always available to speak to folks. I enjoy that. I often get stopped on the street. I get stopped in restaurants to talk about things. And I think, that goes back to being accessible and present and listening to what people have to say and really trying to implement it if it's something that can be done. Sometimes we get a request that it just can't happen. And we try to get back and tell you that, hey, that just doesn't work, and here's why. It costs money, or we don't have X, Y, and Z to make that happen. But, when a citizen approached me and said, hey, can we get some mirrors up on Janet Street? I thought, wow, okay, that's a great idea. Let's try that. And when people need signage, for children at play, absolutely, reach out. We want to be there and respond to you with those issues.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
I'm fine, thank you.
Mayor Peterman, same offer for you, 60 seconds if you would like it. Nope. All right, we will move on to our next question then. Mayor Peterman, we will start with you on this one. In your opinion, what is the most pressing issue facing Helper right now, and how do you plan on fixing it? You will have 2 minutes.
The most pressing issue is the grid, without a doubt. It is over 80 years old in some places. We actually house out of date transformers because our system can't incorporate the newer energy, which tells me we're not being efficient in our delivery of energy. Our poles are ancient and falling over. The wires, if you look up, it keeps me awake at night. So that's the one domino that I have tried so hard to make something happen and have not been successful. And I say not successful, but not successful yet, because I have stayed on it, I continue to be on it, and I network that issue with our federal delegation, with our state, with our local representatives. And if they don't know that Helper has a grid problem, they're living under a rock, because I've done nothing but convey that. And I think we're on the verge of making something happen there. And that's, again, one of the key reasons why I'm running again is I think we're right there. And I think just another push or two. I'm meeting with the head of the Division of Energy at the end of November for the state. It's a problem, and I'm screaming, we need to figure it out. We need help. Can you help us? Can we analyze it? Can we put together a plan? I've talked to the EPA about it. So all of those options are out there, and the buzz is out there that we need this to happen. We need some help. And I tell people it's not a handout, it's a hand up. We need a hand up to attack our grid.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
In your opinion, what is the most pressing issue facing Helper right now, and how do you plan on fixing it?
I do agree that our power grid is probably the main concern, and I don't know that there's anything I can say that Lenise hasn't said as far as trying to get it upgraded. Everything costs money. There's only so much you can do before we have to start looking at, do we have to sell our grid? That is our power is a big source of income for Helper City, and I would hate to ever see that would have to happen, but it's realistic that it may. There's really not much you can say except whatever determination comes, whether we sell it or we try to come up with the money. It's kind of up to the citizens of Helper as this is how it's going to affect your bill. Do we go one way or the other way? It's a giant problem right now.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Mayor Peterman, you will have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
No, thanks.
Ms. Fausett, same offer for you, 60 seconds?
No, I'm fine.
All right. Again, I'd like to remind you that all of these questions have been emailed in by the public prior to this event. If you want to get involved in future Meet the Candidate events, you can do so by emailing election2025@koal.net. Moving on, Ms. Fausett, we'll start with you on this one. In recent weeks, concerns of a, quote, secret society pulling the strings in Helper have been voiced. How do you respond to these claims, and what evidence do you have to support your stance either for or against it? You will have 2 minutes.
I have heard that from so many different people, the secret society, the Mean Girls Club, whatever you want to call it, that a group of people that sort of have a vision and that is their projection for the future and don't take into account a lot of the citizens' input. I don't have any actual evidence of anything. I think there's a lot of people who are feeling like they're on the outside looking in. There's a difference between you're invited and you're welcome. And I think that's something that we need to change and that people need to understand their input is welcome. It's not a vision of 10 or 20 people. We need to make people feel more welcome and everybody has a voice. There's so many hurt feelings right now. I don't know if that can be accomplished with the current administration. I think a lot of that is water under the bridge and people are so hurt or offended that I don't think we'll turn that around. Jealousy of what someone has or does not have. I'm happy what everybody has. I don't need another building. I don't want to run a store. I'm happy if you do. but I think that a lot of people are just off-put by the way some decisions are made, kind of like the revitalization committee. And a lot of those people were set aside, and a lot of their vision was not looked at. I think they felt like they didn't matter, and on goes the secret society. I mean, I've just heard it from so many people.
Your time is up. Mayor Peterman, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
In recent weeks, concerns of a, quote, secret society pulling the strings in Helper have been voiced. How do you respond to these claims, and what evidence do you have to support your stance, either for or against?
What I'd like to say is there is no secret society. There has never been a secret society. If you would like to be involved with Helper, and we're going back years, you were always welcome to be involved. If you want to talk about the Main Street design, that went to the community. That was voted on. Our benches were designed by a science teacher out of Carbon High. We had a plant committee headed up by Ann Cafferly. We had a bench committee. All of those things were available, and you didn't have to do all of Main Street. You could have done a portion. You could have participated in any number of ways. So when I hear that, it's really disturbing to me that people think, who's pulling the strings? If it's not city council, who's making decisions? Who's running the show? And I would tell you, it's your government running the show, period. End of story. That's what it is. And here's what I'm hoping, is that by merging the Helper Arts Alliance and the Main Street boards, that you will be able to bridge that gap. Because the last thing I want to do is alienate people. I want to hear from our citizens. Even when it's not good, I listen. And it informs what I do. Believe it or not, it informs what I do. So building that new board, I'm hoping brings us new energy. It can bridge these gaps. But I don't understand what I've done other than to strive to create a sustainable community that has warm and welcoming people and businesses on its Main Street, that if people need help at their homes, they are empowered to ask, and we will help.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
I'm okay, thank you.
Mayor Peterman, an additional 60 seconds for you.
Yeah, I want to go back to this new board, which, again, open, welcome. I don't know how to be more welcoming other than to open up things and say, please come. And I get we're all busy, and I get we all have lives. But, again, participate. Your voice is important. But if you're sitting on the sidelines and throwing rocks at the people in the ring who are fighting the good fight, what's the purpose of that? There's no benefit there. Help us be better. Help us do more for you. Communicate with us. And if we're not communicating well with you, let us know so that we can figure out how to do this better. I want a good, solid, happy community whose well-being is at the top of my list.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. We will start with you on our next question. A concern citizens have voiced throughout the election cycle is that of ordinance enforcement. If elected, what steps would you take to ensure that this ask is answered? You will have 2 minutes.
Sure, thanks. So the Helper Police Force has only recently been fully staffed. We have 5 officers. They work 12-hour shifts. They cover 7 days a week. So it's been a challenge. I'm the first person to tell you that. But now that we're fully staffed, their focus really is on what I'm going to call addressing criminal law, which goes to public safety, whereas what you're talking about is civil law, which addresses issues relating to private rights and to public order. We're working on a strategy to address those civil issues. We've developed a workflow, we have appropriate documentation, and we need to update our ordinances, which are out of date, to support this new process. As indicated by the chief in our last meeting, he has spent the last part of the year really focused on securing new hires, updating policies and procedures, securing grants, and I'm hoping in the next several months we'll be able to turn an eye towards this. And it's not kicking the can down the street. It's really about limited resources and what they can focus on. And I support that, and I think we have a plan to move that forward. And I'm excited to see that happen because I know that's an annoyance to people. But at the same time, I'm going to say your public safety is going to far outweigh your neighbor's yard. So I think we've got to think about it that way and prioritize it. But I think you'll be able to see some healthy changes coming up in the next several months.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I'm okay. We have not had ordinance enforced in the last 8 years. I think it's really unfortunate and unfair to throw that in the lap of the chief of police. You do not have to be a police officer to be an ordinance officer. At the last city council meeting, David Palacios talked about a program that he's researching that would basically take a photo of something, send the person a letter, we need to address this. The problem starts with we don't have a current fee schedule to enforce those ordinances. So we could send somebody a letter saying you need to do this or that, but there's nothing behind it. There's no teeth in there if they choose not to clean it up or whatever it is, whatever ordinance they're violating. So I think that, that is the police's job, is public safety, and we appreciate that, and it's wonderful to see them out in the community. I would like to see the police actually involved in more stuff with our youth and just getting to know the community. I think they do an excellent job, but I think it's unfair to say, we're finally fully staffed and now we can enforce ordinances, because you don't have to be a police officer to do that.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Mayor Peterman, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
Sure, and in support of our police, we actually have participated with Sally Morrow with their PTO and had donuts with a cop. I attended that event, so I know they are working hard to be present with all of the kids in and around our community, and I hope you all know and see that.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, 60 seconds as well if you would like it.
The only other thing I would like to see the police involved is if we could do anything with the middle school as far as safety, how to keep yourself safe. What do you need to do in the case that you don't feel safe, and that they all know that the police officers are here to help us all, and they are really the good guys. They're the people you can run to. I think that would just help the relationship with the kids in middle school who are maybe taking a few steps on the wrong path.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. We'll move now to our penultimate question of the night, and Ms. Fausett, we'll start with you on this one. If elected, how would you work to support existing local businesses while also creating opportunities for new industry to come to help her? You'll have 2 minutes.
I would like to work with all the local businesses by maybe creating a web page or a local bulletin board, something that you could go to and would have a link to all of the helper businesses' websites. Some things I didn't even know existed. David Palacios mentioned something about a weed control company in Helper. I didn't even know we had one. So if they're not, have a sign out on Main Street, I think there's probably a lot of businesses we don't even recognize that we could all support. I think that would help everyone to be able to have easy access to, where do you need to go. I would work with Carbon County Chamber of Commerce to see what else is out there, and also Carbon County, what businesses are looking to relocate. What could we do to entice someone to come to Helper rather than somewhere else? I think our Dark Skies initiative kind of plays a little bit into that, as far as there are some real restrictions as far as lighting and signage for some of the businesses. So that might be something that sways somebody one way or another, about coming to Helper. But I think we need to really, reach out and try to support everyone local that we can. I think it would just be better and more convenient if there was one place you could go to find out who isn't Helper, what are these little businesses that maybe aren't all on Main Street.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Mayor Peterman, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it? If elected, how would you work to support existing local businesses while also creating opportunities for new industry to come to Helper? You'll have 2 minutes.
So I've been fortunate in that I've been able to connect small business owners to funding opportunities. Examples include the National Park Service's Paul Bruin program, which Adams Fine Art, the New House Building, Skin and Tonic, and the Helper Arts workshops were able to take advantage of to improve their buildings. Certified local government grants have also been secured through the city for Lost and Found Ministries, the Clamper Hall, and the Balance Rock for facade improvements. Having a beautiful Main Street is a natural draw to visit the shops, to grab a coffee at Happiness Within, or a bite to eat at the Balance Rock or Helper Beer. Other efforts in the past have included pop-up shops, where we took vacant storefronts and tried a store on, so to speak. I'm excited to say that that's no longer the case, that most of our shops are open and functioning. And we performed a local business survey in conjunction with USU Eastern to identify small business needs, which resulted in a small business expo that was conducted with the Chamber of Commerce and CERTA so that people could access resources to help them grow their business, hire people, understand loans, that type of thing. And again, small businesses are the heartbeat of any rural community. They make all the difference in the world. We'd love to see, we did a marketing study during COVID. They did it for free. We need more eateries. We need a bookstore. They really identified some things we could be looking to do. And I think there are some things on the horizon that may bring some new businesses to Helper.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, an additional 60 seconds is yours if you would like it.
I think we could do a little bit better in networking when events are happening to try to drive a little bit more business downtown. If somebody has an event, I didn't know we had a free museum day when Wildcat did their community event. I found that out because it was on my Nail Ladies bulletin board. So I think we could do a little bit better. Maybe that would have driven more people downtown to go grab a drink at Happiness or, go to the free museum day, stop in the general store. I think we can drive a little bit more business if we kind of network and all work together when there is something going on in Helper.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett. Mayor Peterman, an additional 60 seconds is yours as well, if you would like.
Sure. So the Wildcat Day was actually a day put on by a private enterprise, and we were so fortunate to have that happen. But it wasn't a city event. They named it, they promoted it, they went to the radio stations and developed ads for it that I just showed up and recorded at their request. So those types of events, it would be a challenge for the city who doesn't have a marketing budget, who doesn't have a social media person, who is out promoting these things. They did the posters, they showed up Friday, they put them out, and I'm so thankful that they did what they did. And my hope is that next year, word of mouth and putting it on the schedule in mid-July like we did, that we'll see a stronger outcome.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. And before we move on to our final question, I'd like to take a second to thank both of you for taking the time to come out tonight. I think events like these are very important for the public to go out and make an informed decision. And thank you all here at the Rio Theater for sticking with us as we work through some of those things at the beginning. We appreciate your patience, and we appreciate your attitude throughout this evening. And we appreciate you coming out to make the best informed decision you can about your city council races. Now, we will move on to our last question now, and each of you will have 3 minutes to answer the question. Mayor Peterman, we will start with you on this one. Why should the residents of Helper vote for you? You have 3 minutes.
So it was interesting last night. A good friend said something to me that really resonated. And that is, we all stand on the shoulders of those elected officials who came before us. I stand today on the shoulders of Joe Bonacci, Mike Delpaz, Dean Armstrong, Ed Chavez. My hope is 4 years from now, the next mayor stands on mine. I am just a small building block of many who came before and the many who will come after. I would ask for your vote so I can focus on the issues that we've discussed tonight: road improvements, water and electrical infrastructure, affordable housing, Mountain View Cemetery expansion, maturing the USU Eastern Baseball and Softball Partnership. Efforts of this nature require an innovative funding approach, an innovative thinking approach, and a combination of blood, sweat, and tears, grants, appropriations, donations, and careful budgeting. I simply want to finish much of the good work that we have accomplished. I do what I do, not for the paycheck, not for the credit, but for the deep respect and love I have for this community. I do what I do so our kids have a fighting chance to earn a living wage and to serve as an example of service for them. It's about giving back so others can thrive. I have appreciated your support in the past, and I'm asking for your support today. I hope you can judge me by my actions, my words, and my record. I think that tells you who I am, and I hope you will cast your vote for me in this election cycle. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Peterman. Ms. Fausett, same question for you. Why should the residents of Helper vote for you? You'll have 3 minutes.
I hope the residents of Helper will vote for me because I am a true believer in term limits. I think nothing good comes when everything stays as it is. I think sometimes unhealthy alliances are made. Other things are set to the side. I think there's a lot of people in Helper that are just really frustrated with feeling like everything's for Main Street and nothing is for the back street. I would hope to work with all the citizens and bring more things to City Council, more concerns. I would really encourage everybody to attend the City Council meetings. That's where decisions are made. And if you want to have a say, that's the time for you to stand up and say, well, wait a minute, I think we need to consider this. I think we have some really good people that are running for City Council. I think going forward for the next 4 years, we can really make some changes that will benefit the entire town, in addition to Main Street. So I would just ask for your support and know that Helper is my heart. I'm not going anywhere. I don't have any other commitments. I will really have your back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fausett, and thank you both again for taking the time to come up here with us at this Meet the Candidates Forum. We really appreciate it, and we want to thank you both for putting yourselves out here and running for an elected position like this. It takes a lot of courage, and you have nothing but my utmost respect. And again, thank you to all of you here at the Rio Theater here in beautiful downtown Helper for making tonight as well attended as it is. We will have the video recording of tonight's forum available tonight to watch on our YouTube channel and Castle Country Radio. The YouTube page is KOAL, Castle Country Focus. We will have that up at 8:30 p.m. This Meet the Candidates Forum will also air in its entirety tomorrow morning at 7:05 a.m. on KOAL 107.3 FM and 7:50 a.m. We'll run over voting information one last time before we close out. Early voting for the 2025 municipal general election will be conducted at the Carbon County Administration Building from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday, October 28th through Friday, October 31st. In-person voting will also be conducted on Election Day, November 4th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. again in the Carbon County Administration Building. Drop-off ballot boxes are available at the Carbon County Administration Building for those of you voting by mail-in ballots at the clerk's office and the Easter parking lot, as well as at Wellington City Hall, East Carbon City Hall, Helper City Hall, and Schofield Town Hall. Thank you again for all coming out to participate in tonight's forum, and signing off for all of us here at Castle Country Radio, I'm Aiden Mortensen.
You've been listening to Meet the Candidates 2025 Helper City Mayor Edition. Tomorrow, we'll travel to Green River City Hall, where you'll hear from City Council candidates Tanya Bigelow, Conrad Weber, Stephanie Crabtree, and Larry Packer. To get a full schedule of our upcoming forums, visit castlecountryradio.com. Remember, each of our sessions are available to view on demand on our YouTube channel, KOAL Castle Country Focus, or at castlecountryradio.com.